heart of South Philly. Let's go see what the people have got to say.
I'm ready to roll, baby.
Now listen here, Dutch. The Mets and the Cowboys, they suck.
1, 2, 3, go Birds! Go Birds!
Here we go, 302BIRDS, United States. Go Birds!
Oh my gosh, Chad. Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions.
Your favorite Chicagoan. Go Phils.
As always, God bless. Go Birds.
Get your water ice and soft pretzels ready because you are now tuned into a 302BIRDS podcast experience. Proudly presented by TickPick, Nick's Pizza, El Diablo Burritos, and Klondike Kate's on the heart of Main Street. Let's take it to the show.
Evening, ladies and gentlemen. I did not think when we did this show last. Well, I did. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it back in March when we signed Saquon. But you guys know how much of an Eagles nut I am, and Matt Coy down there who was in the car with me, guys. The time is here. I was just saying it in my last video. We have been waiting for months, since March, for this moment. It's been 10 long months that the Eagles can book their ticket to the Super Bowl. If you don't look as focused as that sexy beast on the screen that's below me that's back tonight, I don't know. I mean, I just got to ask you, Tom, you and KJ, really quick. You guys were there. Snowball. I mean, how was that atmosphere? How are you feeling this week?
Everybody was hyped up. It was actually like, I think like Saquon said it best during his post-game interview. It was like being in a kid's, like, it was like everything you dreamed of as a kid, like with the snow and whatnot. I was in the upper level, KJ, so I'll be perfectly honest. The way that stadium swirls, I was in the end zone where the wind was blowing towards, so I was just getting hit in the face with sleet. But other than that, it was awesome. I loved being there. It was so much fun. The drive home was not fun. I will say that.
Really? Wait, can you fill me in on that? How was the drive home?
So, we did not use the red Buick Verano. Thank God.
R.I.P.
No, it would have been bad if we used that. Aaron's dad has like a like SUV type car. We drove that, and like none of the roads were plowed, like along like Pattison or Broad, and nobody wanted to let you over, so I couldn't like make a quick U-turn to get onto 95 South that I needed to get on, so I drove through the Navy Yard, and the Navy Yard was like 6 inches of snow already down there by the time the game ended. Let's just put it this way, even with an SUV type, it's a good thing I know how to drift. Otherwise, I would have been in bad shape. Like, I had a few close calls. Like, there was one, we ended up facing the wrong way on Pattison.
Wow.
No, not Pattison. Darren. Yeah, on Darren. Or Darien, I should say. But like nobody was coming, luckily, because we waited in FDR Park for so long to get out. Like, it took us so long to get out of FDR Park that a lot of the other traffic was already gone, other than right along Broad. So it was fine. Once we got on to 95 South was kind of cool, though. I've never seen so many state troopers in my life. Like, they closed off. So Ash, you wouldn't know this, but the rest of you guys would. Like, it's 4 lanes by the stadiums on 95. If they closed off the far right and far left lanes, put up cones and put up cop cars to be like essentially like bumpers. So if you start to slide, you wouldn't slide off of the overpass to your death. You would just crash into a cop car.
That's actually really smart.
Your tax dollars are worth.
Yep.
Yeah. KJ, I mean, that sounds like hell, Tom, first off. So God bless you for driving in that.
But the game itself was so fun. Like, I had a fantastic time. Everyone around me was hyped. It actually wasn't that cold too. Maybe I just prepped really well, but it wasn't as cold. I've been to colder games. Let me put it to you that way.
Yeah, I agree. It wasn't that cold. Where I was, sometimes the wind would be hitting us, but I didn't get too much snow on me because I'm kind of covered where my seats are. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, just to see the atmosphere, I mean, it honestly lived up to the hype. I mean, I always wanted to go to a Snowball game, and I mean, I got to go, so I'm truly blessed. I mean, that was really cool to see Saquon have a Shady McCoy kind of moment with those 2 touchdowns. Obviously, the first one there wasn't too much snow accumulating yet, and then the second one, that was even more legendary, I feel like. I mean, that gave me a lot of flashbacks. I even made a video on my TikTok kind of doing a sequence kind of video of from Shady McCoy's play, and then it just cut right to Saquon. So it was kind of cool, like a transition video. But yeah, it was really cool. Great atmosphere for sure. I mean, they almost gave up the game. I mean, that was scary, but I mean, that was it was legendary for sure. I mean, legendary doesn't even really kind of sum it up because it just seemed like it was a dream. Just like how Tom said. I mean, it was honestly like something from like a movie, something like a video game, where you put all the settings on for Madden, where you put 100% snow or whatever. So it's it was really cool. So it's something that I'll never forget. And yeah, it was a great stepping stone to this next game.
I
just didn't need the heart attack at the end. That was my only complaint about the game. I didn't need the heart attack at the end.
Yeah.
That place was ready to be a nightclub as soon as Saquon scored that second touchdown. And then all of a sudden it went from a nightclub atmosphere to a funeral because everybody was on pins and needles. And then when Puka made that catch, everyone, it was just in unison. Fuck.
Yeah.
That's your quote of the week. The one before Tom said that, where he said it went from a dance club to a funeral. That is the ballpark quote.
Yeah, that is a quote of the week for sure. I mean, that's honestly how it was, though. Tom actually really did say it right.
Because it died at home watching it. But hey, luckily, to help us break it down, we brought in some of the big guns for Jack's weekly call.
What do I want when I'm in the state of Delaware? Of course, El Diablo Burritos. Customer service always is serving your food with a smile on their face, asking how your day is. The food is phenomenal. Right in the chair.
We got Broad Street Sports. How you doing tonight, buddy?
What's going on, man? How you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Almost had a heart attack last week, but
yeah, you know what? It's never an Eagles game unless they make you want to. I had a fun way of what I was going to say to start that, but it's never an Eagles game unless they make you want to. I'm not going to say the words, but you get what I'm getting at. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Stab yourself with a fork, I guess we'll say.
Yeah, stab your eyes out. Shardy collaborated a post with me after the Phillies lost the NLDS, and it was a Walt Whitman jump party. And bring your own bleach. So if we lost that game, that was what was going to happen. Walt Whitman jump party, bring your own bleach.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's kind of break down this game a little bit. What positives and negatives did you see from this Eagles team?
The positives I saw was that the offensive line did a good job, even with the snow. And now I know the Rams' defensive line has gotten much better throughout the season. So they were real good. And then even though they got a bunch of sacks anyway, I'm still proud of the way the offensive line played because of how slippery it was and, the field play. I'm proud of how Saquon played. And I'm really proud of how the defense played because that Rams team put up a lot of points against a good Vikings team. And they've been putting up a bunch of points. So that the defense, they're good. It's obviously a great defense, number one in the league. But they showed up to play. They made their stops. They put, and I always say this: you don't need to put sacks on. You don't have to worry about sacks. This is not a time for stat pad no more. This is a time put pressure on the quarterback and make him throw it into coverage. And you saw them put Stafford in a couple bit of jams where he didn't know, he had a tough time. But so I thought the defense played well. But when I look at the cons, I thought Jalen Hurts was a con, and going to get a lot of hate for that, but I thought Jalen Hurts was a con. I thought he played worse Sunday than he did against Green Bay. And, so I thought that was a con. Jake Elliott is a con. He's a serious problem. And, like, I am, and I am, like, the most confident in Jake Elliott. Like, I am, like, the most pro Jake Elliott guy out there. But he is just he's making it really hard to defend him, and he's a problem. But and now here's another thing. This is my last con. Kellen Moore was a total disaster. He was a disaster against the Rams, and he was a disaster against Green Bay. The guy's clueless out there, man. The guy's clueless. You have the best running back in the league, and he wants to constantly throw the ball down the field with Jalen Hurts. Jalen hurt his leg there in the second half. I forget, it was the end of the third, fourth quarter, whatever it was. He hurt his leg, hurt his knee. And then the next 3 plays, by the way, were bootlegs. So you have your quarterback who's being paid $255 million, who just came off concussion protocol, that now has a hurt knee, and he had a hard time walking after it got hurt. Then, and then it's all you got the snow and shit out there, and then you want to run 3 bootlegs and pass plays after that. Why are you not giving the ball to Saquon Barkley? So I thought Jalen Hurts was a disaster, Kellen Moore was a disaster, and Jake Elliott was a disaster. The rest of the team was A-okay.
Well,
So
let me I'll ask you this.
Elliott too. Sorry, go ahead, KJ.
I'll ask you this, Broad. So do you think it has to do, and I just saw what Haven said, and then I'm kind of piggybacking off that. Do you think it has to do with this stupid rule, how these coordinators can actually talk to teams who aren't in the playoffs for head coaching positions? Do you think it has to do with that he's like distracted?
Yeah. So I was listening. I was doing some cleaning in my house, like my once a month bedroom cleaning, deep cleaning. So I throw one, so I throw WIP on, and it was like Saturday, and they had Smeltzer on, and they had ESP. And I love ESP. I respect what ESP does, but he said something that was totally idiotic. He said that there's no problem with offensive coordinators and coaches and whatever talking to other teams while they're in the postseason. Why is that allowed? Why is that allowed? Now, I'm going to piggyback off of I hate the Redskins, Commanders. But, Cliff Kingsbury, who's done a great job down there in Washington, he was offered the same interview that Kellen Moore was offered, and he turned it down until after the postseason because he said he has to worry about making sure his team's ready. He's got to worry about the game plan that he's got to put together. He turned it down. But then you have this idiot, Kellen Moore. He says, oh, yeah, let me go do an interview. And not just one interview, but multiple interviews. When they're trying to go through walkthroughs, it's Friday and Saturday before you got a divisional playoff game, and he's going down to Dallas, and I think he had another one or 2 other ones. I mean, what are we doing? How is that allowed in the National Football League? Then Elliott said, so Elliott was like, oh, well, teams don't want to wait until, mid-February, end of February to know who their coach is. Why the hell not? Why can't you know? You can't sign any free agents till March or April or whatever it is. You can't. The draft isn't until April. So why? And training camp, mini camp, or whatever doesn't even start till June. Why in the hell can't you know who the hell your coach is going to be until? Well, that was the dumbest thing. So I think they have to change that. It's an idiotic statement. The league is so effed up in a lot of ways when they do that. I mean, it's a joke. It's a joke.
You're right, though. You're 100% right.
And I will say this. I said this on my podcast. I said, if we play bad, if offensive play calling is bad and whatever else, it's to blame on Kellen Moore not caring enough to do it. Not caring enough to get a good game plan. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if Ben Johnson, Detroit's coordinator, and did any interviews. Now, I don't know if he did or did not. Somebody can confirm that he did, but let's just say he did. Hypothetically, if he did, that's why they got smoked in that divisional round. They got smoked because their offense wasn't ready to go. Jared Goff sucked. They had no game plan. So, I mean, again, there's so many examples of these offensive coordinators. I mean, come on. The league has to change it.
Well, Broad, to answer that question, yes. Ben Johnson definitely.
I mean, what a joke.
He had a 3-hour interview on Zoom. I forget who with, maybe in the Bears. So yes,
3 hours. 3 hours he could have been spending watching film, talking to Jared Goff, talking to oh my God, Dan Campbell. The league has to change this. I mean, it's a disaster.
Yeah, no, I agree. I definitely think they should wait till after the Super Bowl.
And you saw the same thing with Gannon too when the Eagles were in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
The guy wasn't allowed on the plane. Stayed right here.
It's
right there in Arizona.
It's a joke.
Yeah, so I definitely think they need to change that because that's something that may be looked over, but at the same time, it has to affect the coaches that are being interviewed for head coach positions without a doubt.
Right. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. Like, I have no problem if teams want to interview Kellen Moore or Vic Fangio or whoever, but can you just do it until after the season? Yeah. I mean, it's not our fault that your team is such a disaster that you have to go out and go interview coaches every single year. There's no reason for that.
Well, it should be that no team can hire a coach till after the Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Even if you don't make the playoffs, just in limbo for a month.
You just gotta wait. You gotta wait your turn, man. Gotta wait your turn.
Yeah.
So, Brad, I gotta ask, what is your because obviously we want to be respectful of your time. What is your score prediction for the NFC East, it's the NFC East Championship, but really the NFC Championship just happens to be two divisional teams.
Now, so I was very scared for the Green Bay game, and I was pretty nervous for the Rams game. This may be the most confident I have been in the past 3 weeks for an Eagles game. I think they're going to obliterate this team. I really do. I think I really just think all the hate that they're getting, and I don't like Jalen Hurts, but all the hate that he's getting, even though he's had some better stats than Mahomes and Allen, and people are just trashing this team. I think this is the most confident I have been for an Eagles postseason game this entire run. I think they're really going to obliterate them. So if I have to say, I say you may see like a 38-7, 38-10. I mean, I really see it. I do. Jalen Hurts revenge game, and all that smack them scummy Washington fans were talking about down there after they beat Kenny Pickett, after they beat Kenny Pickett by 3 points because of a drop pass by Saquon and Devontae. So, I mean, we have a lot of fuel going in. It's being played at the link. I'm ready. I'm confident. I think they're going to blow the doors off of them. They're not ready. 38-10. Book it. Go down to Live Casino. Book it.
Love it.
Love it.
Book it.
That actually really scares me.
Book it. No, and like Jack will tell you, I am like the most Negadelphian out there. I am like when you think about like old school guys that are like Negadelphian, like I am so negative. I'm confident. Birds by a million. I just read somebody in the comments, Joseph. Birds by a million. Birds by a million. Lock it in.
Let's go.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, I'm full on with that because, yeah, I mean, we had 2 rough games against the Packers and then the Rams, but I think that this team, you can't beat a team 3 times, and I think this team with Jalen Hurts now hopefully plays a lot better. But yeah, I think Birds by a million for sure because the Commanders put up a lot of points against the Lions. But again, the Lions have had 19 players on injury reserve. So they weren't playing full steam. And the biggest leg up we have is that Sam Cosmi is out, who is probably one of their best offensive linemen for the Commanders. And he's going up against Jalen Carter. So Jalen Carter is just going to blow up whoever his backup is and get all these, get at least 3 sacks, 2.5 sacks.
Well, I see all these comments in here, and they're all saying that, you can't overlook them. Absolutely, you can't overlook them. I will give Washington all the credit they deserve. This is a good team. Jayden Daniels is elite. He's legit. But you have to look at it this way. The Eagles are certainly a Super Bowl team. They are the most complete team. They're the number 1 defense, the number 1 running offense. Jalen Hurts could just somewhat be a B plus, a B or B plus passing. Nothing can stop this team. The only people that can stop this Eagles team from winning a Super Bowl, going to a Super Bowl, is themselves, shooting themselves in the foot. They're the most complete team. They're a better team than Washington. And here's the thing. I heard WIP, Joe DeCamera said this morning. I believe it was him or John Ritchie, one of them. They said, all you got to worry about is Jayden Daniels. If he's locked in, if he's running all around the field, that's a little bit of a problem. But, you got Quinyon Mitchell's ready to go. I saw the report. He's going to play. DeJean's playing. Everybody's ready to go. I mean, this is going to be a party down there. I'm telling you right now. This team is destined to win a Super Bowl.
Now, if we lose, are you going to be doing the same thing and blaming on Kellen Moore?
Now, here's what I will do. I will look at what the main points are, though. You know what I mean? If we lose the game because Jalen Hurts has 2 turnovers, Jalen's fault. If we lose because the offensive play calling was a disaster, then Kellen Moore. If the defense doesn't look ready to go, then Vic Fangio and the defense. You got to point the finger where the finger's got to be pointed. You know what I mean? That's it. But I'm telling you, most confident I've been.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Well, Broad, we appreciate you for jumping on. I know we got Joe Donahue backstage. He's been patient. Tell the people where they can find you.
On YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, I'm all over there. I do post-game. I film myself wherever I'm at. Post-game reactions, little clips. Then I come down here in the basement with this little backdrop. I post a long podcast form. I do pregame shows on the Eagles. So please subscribe. Please follow me. We greatly appreciate it. I thank you. I really do appreciate you guys having me on, man.
Hey, man, no worries. Keep doing what you're doing. We're fans of it. We love you, and we'll see you soon. Okay, bro?
See you guys.
All right, take care.
I think
all right, we're going to move ahead a little bit more segments. I did want to do that snow cap in the beginning because I wanted to recap a little bit of what happened there. But moving ahead with that, we actually brought Joe Donahue back on the show. So Joe was super popular last week. Everybody on the show loved him. Joe, how you doing this week?
I'm doing fine, Dalton. Thank you so much. I'm glad to hear that I was popular enough to be invited back 2 weeks in a row. Thanks, guys.
Of course.
Of course. We love having the show.
Everybody said you had great stuff to say, said you had great stats. So we'll let you take this one first. But the run game was obviously in huge focus with not only Barkley, but Hurts. What did you think of the snowball run game, Joe?
Absolutely, Dalton. Yeah, the run game really was the way in which the Eagles were able to maneuver through it. I mean, we saw Jalen go down last week. I know Broad was just talking about the concerns that he had surrounding Kellen Moore and the offensive play calling, and it really has that impact, right? You have that dynamic run game that really is unique among the league, right? Most other teams in the league don't really use the run game in the way that the Eagles are using the run game. Now, obviously, that's fueled by having an all-star Pro Bowl, should be in the MVP conversation running back. But even going back a couple years when the Eagles were effectively utilizing the run game, they were using the run game to set up the passing game, which most of the rest of the league has gotten away from. They're using the short passes, the screens, really to set up that deep passing game. The Eagles have really, aside from the end of last year where they got away from it, the Eagles have really been effectively using the run game to set up the passing game. And I mean, you look at it, Saquon Barkley had 460 rushing yards over the course of the 2 Rams games. The Eagles are the number 2 run offense in the league. They're run in both the regular season and the postseason, just behind only the Buffalo Bills in terms of that regard. So the run game really has taken off. And to the concerns about Jalen's knee, and those are legitimate concerns, that's where you have this weapon that is so underutilized or around the league collectively that you can rely on, that's so consistent. You have Saquon coming in and you just hand him the ball off, and occasionally you get Jalen Hurts going. Jalen had 70 yards in the last game on the ground. So not all of them were obviously designed runs, but he had 70 yards on the ground last week. Kenny Gainwell too is a little bit of a gadget running back that you can utilize in certain situations. Kenny had 10 yards into that. So the Eagles have had significant success over this season running the football, and that's that feels an anomaly, because I remember how this time last year we were all like, there were people outside picketing at NovaCare saying run the football. There have been chants run the football at Lincoln Financial Field, both towards the end of last season and also in Nick's first season here. So the fact there, I don't think it's a coincidence that as the run game has taken off, so has this Eagles team, because the run game just has such of a factor in terms of wearing down opponents. So you have all of that factored in, and it's not just Saquon. It's certainly Jalen, certainly the other backs, Kenny Gainwell in particular. And then it's those offensive linemen that really just have their way on the offensive line. And we know that because the Eagles have been flagged 13 times over the course of this season, including the postseason, for ineligible receiver downfield on those run pass options. So the offensive line able to have their way at the line of scrimmage really, really does a huge factor in terms of keeping that run game going. So huge props to Jeff Stoutland for getting those guys in order, and huge props to that entire group for being able to generate so much success in the run game.
One question for you too, Joe. I was talking about it with one of Jack's former coworkers, my coworker today, Josh Harris.
Yeah.
And we were saying, how do you feel about the line being, it's the highest ever, I think, for a running back at 130 yards. Do you think that Saquon will go over the 130? I mean, I thought it sounds like a lock to me. Playoffs, injured QB, why not?
Yeah, it's definitely high. I'm not going to dispute that, but you also have to take a look at what he's done against the Commanders over the course of this season. I mean, Saquon in the first matchup against the Commanders had 26 carries for 146 yards. And then later on in the season, when the Eagles faced them again and unfortunately lost that matchup, Saquon had 29 carries for 150 yards. Playoff football is going to be different. There's definitely going to be that heightened play. There's definitely going to be a little bit more pressure on this situation here on both sides of the football to be able to keep things going. But absolutely, when you look at, I think that 130, I think the odds makers in Vegas who are putting that line there, I think they know they're very good at their jobs if they're putting it at 130, because Saquon definitely has the potential to go over that, but they also know how much playoff football is going to impact it. So I think he does go over. I'm not a gambling person myself, so I can't really, I don't really pay too much attention to the lines, but I do think that he goes over simply because, I mean, the Commanders have not been good generally against the run. They're not one of the better run defenses that we have, that we face. They're definitely, I mean, mad props to them for making it to the NFC Championship game. I just don't think that their run defense is going to be enough to stop the Eagles from having their way in the run game.
Perfect. Anything else you got to say about Barkley this week, Joe, or the run game?
The Eagles really just have to keep committing to it. They have to not be discouraged by it. We've seen most of the success in the run game come later in the game. The Eagles can't hit the abort button too quickly. That's something that I mean, growing up watching Andy Reid, growing up watching those years, and then even going through the Chip Kelly era where it was just go for the team. You can't hit the abort button on the run game too quickly. You have to be patient with it. You have to be consistent with it, because the way that it works is it wears down the opposing defensive line. And that's what enables you to be able to break out for 60, 70-yard runs when you have that happen. So at the end of the day, you have to be consistent with the run. You have to really just attack the opposing defensive line to try to make sure that they don't have they're all constantly on the field and they're just getting worn down from the fact that they have to be in the trenches all day.
Yeah. Well, hey, Joe, I appreciate you for jumping on here. Can you let the people know where they can find you as well?
Absolutely. You can find me at YouTube, Bird's Nest Media, right on YouTube. Instagram, Bird's Nest Media on Instagram. Twitter, X formerly Twitter. They had Bird's Nest Media already taken, so it's Bird's Nest FB on Twitter for short for football. But yeah, Bird's Nest Media pretty much in most places.
Sounds good. Thank you, bro. We appreciate you for jumping on here, and we'll see you again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dalton. Thanks, guys.
Have a good one, Joe.
So our next segment, well, we were thrown off a little bit. I apologize. Like I said, guys, I wanted to do that snowball segment, and we're doing a show a little bit earlier at a time. I was going to try to get this package for you guys. Doesn't work. But the good news is, when you're in doubt, you can always bounce past it to one of your best buddies.
You are now listening to KJ's Court Sixers Talk presented by the Sleeper app.
Yeah, so the Sixers, it's been depressing. It's been very depressing. Right now we are 15-27. And yesterday, the Sixers lost 144-109 to the Denver Nuggets. And we were getting mocked by the Denver Nuggets fans. And they started a chant saying, "Where's Embiid at?" And they kept on saying it and saying it. And honestly, I don't know where he's at. No one knows where he's at. I think they should start making T-shirts saying, "Missing Joel Embiid." Where the heck are you, Joel Embiid? Because this team is suffering. And honestly, it has to do with you not playing. And it just honestly infuriates me. And this team right now is infuriating me as a basketball fan. It's just really hard to watch. And honestly, I've just really been focused on the Birds and trying to keep myself happy because every time I try and turn on that TV to the Sixers, I get into that depressed mindset of just horrific basketball and just a disorganized team. That's how it is, honestly.
Well, KJ, it is fuck Josh Harris week, so.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yes, it is.
Sixers suck. He sucks. Who the hell signs? You buy a Philadelphia team, then you buy two of their rivals in other sports. Like, who's the genius that thought that was a good idea?
He's doing the East Coast I-95 thing, Tom.
You think he was a marketing major in college, Tom?
No, his next.
He's going to a lot of money.
He's going to buy something in North Carolina next. He's just like going down I-95. I actually respect it, low key. It's like
actually he bought the Sixers, went up 95 to buy the Devils, then went down 95 to get the Commanders.
Yeah, but everything in New York is.
Where's halfway point?
Yeah.
Sixers suck, and B needs to get out of Philadelphia because this team's not going to be successful.
Josh Harris needs to sell team.
Yeah, so we just need to figure out his contract, kind of, because we're paying him a lot of money for him to play not a lot of games at all. So, yeah, it's definitely an issue. And this is the issue with signing superstar players that you think are going to pay out in the end, and they just, like Embiid, just play injured throughout their whole career. I don't know why we gave him that contract. We knew he was injury prone when he was a rookie in his first season in the NFL, my bad, in the NBA, where he sat out his rookie year for injury. So yeah, we need to cut ties with Joel Embiid, and we'll be a successful team. And we need to stop signing all-star players with Paul George.
Yeah,
from what all-star player.
He is though. He really is.
He was an all-star.
Jimmy Butler's an all-star player. We shouldn't.
No.
Sign him.
We shouldn't.
No.
Kept Jimmy.
Nope.
We should have kept Jimmy Butler.
No.
We should have kept Jimmy Butler.
Nope.
Yeah, we chose.
I'm with Josh.
We've had this discussion.
Jimmy Butler should have been signed back, and we should have honestly. They trusted Ben Simmons, and that was a total brain.
Ben Simmons was good until he wasn't. I can't have this conversation.
Yeah,
I went to turn on the TV the other day to watch the game. To be honest with you, but before I did, the Sixers tweeted out like the starting lineup. The only person I knew was Maxey. I was like, I'm not watching.
Yeah,
I can't. I can't.
I mean, that's how it is. I mean,
new era,
you don't
Job.
see Embiid, you don't see Paul George some games, and it's depressing because I mean the team doesn't even know they're going to come out, and when they do come out, obviously the team is in. I mean, they are in sync and everything like that for the most part. But it just sucks. It really is unfortunate. And from what I'm hearing too, Embiid's knee is not getting any better. It's swelling, and it just reminds me a lot of other NBA centers that have had injuries. I mean, we've talked about before. I mean, you could name a bunch of centers: Yao Ming, Greg Oden, Sam Bowie. I mean, you could go. The list goes on. I mean, with all these NBA players that had some injuries. I mean, they could have been great players, but I mean, obviously Embiid's shown that he's an MVP talent, MVP caliber player, but he's getting sidelined by these injuries and a lot of unknown things about him. And it's really unfortunate for sure because the guy has talent.
It reminds me of that game. Do you remember that game in like January 2021 when everybody on the team got COVID and like they threw out like a 6-man team and like Dwight Howard had to play like point guard? That's what I feel like I'm watching every night.
Yeah.
Like, who are these guys? Who's playing what? But it's listen.
Zane Doak.
I don't even know who he is, but seems like a
This
jerk.
guy, I wonder what you said that upset him. I wonder if he's
Never
like
said anything. I've never been mean to
I
any.
was wondering that too. I saw your face, but I'll say this about the Sixers.
Yeah. Explain yourself, Zane.
I'm not even going to waste my breath on the Sixers. Like, I'm not even going to waste my breath on Zane. Oh, I just did that. Anyway, offense. I want to move on to our next topic because snow game, Kellen Moore did his job, did he was supposed to, cracked open, and I was proud of it. So I thought the Eagles all in all played a good game. How about you guys?
We got lucky in the weather, and here's why, because of the game plan. So when the field is slippery, and Jack can attest to this, when the field is slippery, the offensive line has the advantage on the defensive line pass blocking. The defensive line has the advantage on the offensive line. Or I'm sorry, I said that backwards. Basically, the offensive line is better at pass or at run blocking than they are when they pass block. So the Eagles want to run the ball. So that's good for us because it's easier to run block in the snow because the defense is on heels, backing up. And the Rams want to throw the ball. And that was better for us because our D-line can attack. I messed up the wording, but that's true. That's true. It's easier when it's snowing. The offense has the advantage when you run block, and the defense has the advantage when you pass block in the snow.
That's a fair point. That actually makes a lot of sense.
Which helps our game because we want to run the ball and the Rams want to pass the ball. So that worked out really well for us.
Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, yeah. I just
you went a whole broad.
I think I had a stroke. Man.
Yeah, I think anyway.
But the point is valid.
Disregard what we just said. I mean, go ahead. Who else wants to talk about it?
Here, I'll say Josh. Josh, I think you're right. I think this is the point you were trying to get across. The game plan wasn't as great, but what should have been a great game plan was we have the run advantage with Saquon. When it's snowy and icy like that, it's tough to throw the ball. Oh, why on God's green earth Kellen Moore decided to call a pass play when you're backed up on your own 3 to give Jalen a sack? I'll never know. He has 1 foot, as Ryan from Broad Street Sports said, he's got 1 foot here and 1 foot in Dallas right now. Like, he's ready to go. Oh, but I can't stand this. I have to get this off my chest since we're talking about the offense, Dutch, if you'll allow me. Hey,
lay it on, Tommy. Lay it on.
I'm like, you know how much of a Carson Wentz guy I was, and I was a doubter of Jalen. But I cannot stand this Jalen Hurts hate right now. I just can't. It's driving me up a freaking wall. Oh, Josh Allen goes out in. They weren't optimal conditions either, but it was a sunny day on the beach compared to how it was for us, for Josh Allen, and he could only essentially replicate Jalen's stats. And yet. We're praising Josh Allen like he's the second coming of Christ, and we got Jalen Hurts who he says hello to you, and you claimed him to be the world's worst person on the face of the earth. The dude can do no right to the national media. He can't even do right to his own guys within the city. I didn't think Jalen had a bad game when you put into the fact that it was snowing and sleeting there, and you couldn't throw the ball because of that. Hey, and when he did drop it in there, some of his receivers were dropping passes because it was snowing and sleeting.
Wait, Tom.
Yeah, I don't
No,
think he's having
I
a business
have
either.
stats to back you up, Tom. I have stats to back you up.
Thank you.
Ready? So I said some of these. These are going around in the 2022 playoffs when the Eagles made the Super Bowl, in the divisional round against the Giants, and the NFC Championship game against the 49ers. A.J. Brown had 7 catches for 50 yards total because we relied on the run game in those 2 games so much. If you remember, we ran it on the Giants. Kenny Gainwell had a great game, and we ran it against the Niners. Also, in those 2 games, Jalen Hurts never threw more than 55 yards passing or something. In the 4 games that Jalen Hurts has won in the playoffs, he has never thrown over 160 yards. All facts, look them up. In the Super Bowl, he went off. We lost.
Plus, look at Jared Goff, who threw for over 200 yards. Hurts, where's he watching the game this weekend? From his couch. He didn't do what was necessary to win the game. Why would Jalen Hurts throw the ball for over 200 yards when he can just run the ball for 300 yards between him, Saquon, and Kenny Gainwell? Oh, between the 3 of them, it's just the opposite of what a modern-day offense is. Where the modern-day offense is over 300 passing yards, he's having over 300 rushing yards. I don't understand what the big problem is. He's doing what's necessary to win. And do you want him to have these flashy stats and we're sitting on the couch next week watching Commanders versus Chiefs, or the refs, I should say, in the Super Bowl in 2 weeks? Or do you want to watch the Birds playing? And he had like 180 yards. And I'm tired of this slander. He can't throw a deep ball. He can't drop it in there. He did it when he had to, like against Cincinnati this year. He did it against Pittsburgh. He did it against the Giants at one point. He did it against every team but really Tampa Bay this year. Tampa Bay is the only team that truly shut him down this season. And he can drop it in there. But why would you when you have the world's greatest running back? It's like when the Seahawks threw the ball in the 2-yard line and you had a guy that could carry a defense on his back. Why on God's green earth would you do that?
Hey, fair point to make, too. The one thing I want to say is, all in all, I thought that the offense as a whole played well this game. Who also played well? The defense. I want to just give props to the defense because defense wins championships. Tom's bringing up.
I said that. I've been saying that.
When you originally said it, when we were in fucking 7th grade to me. So if you want me to go back to 7th grade to give you credit for it, that was probably when it was, when this fucking Seahawks era beat the shit. You guys remember? Or no, we were in high school, freshman year. Sorry, we were a little bit older.
No.
Josh, you might have said it then, but just let me get to my point.
Also, the Ravens did it too with Ray Lewis and Reed.
Number 1 defense in the Super Bowl. You had the Broncos and Peyton Manning's old ass still chucking it out there. And then you had the Seahawks who were crushing it. And it was just the matchup of matchups. And who came out on top? Defense. I actually thought that the Broncos were going to win. And Russell Wilson and the Seahawks in that fantastic Legion of Boom won. So I think that, look, Commanders, you have a flashy offense. That's great. You have an okay defense, but all in all, the Eagles pretty much have the advantage in every position level, except I would say arguably QB and linebacker. Other than that, defensive line, offensive line, tight end, wide out, I could go on. The Eagles have the advantage in every single category. But as far as this defense goes, 10 tackles for a loss, 5 sacks last week. I know some of that's attributed to the snow, but it felt like in the clutch moments, every clutch moment that we needed the defense to show up, most of them, at least when I was watching the game, they showed up. And there's something to be said for that. You won the game, defense held up in the snow. It's not easy. And I think Broad Street Report said it best when he came on here. That Rams offense wasn't any joke. They were really good, and they just beat up on the Vikings defense by a lot.
Yeah, I mean, all I got to say is, Darius Slay has been playing great defense the past 2 games.
He's so good.
And, you know, we were giving him a lot of slander throughout the whole season as typical Eagles fans do. But, I mean, he's been our key player on defense. Same with Nakobe Dean. But him playing out of his mind in these games that matter just makes the defense 100% even better. And Vic Fangio, I think the only issue I have with him is, you know, sometimes we run the prevent defense. I'm not a big fan of that because receivers like Terry McLaurin, like Puka Nacua, it just we gotta stop doing that because that's not a good recipe. That's a recipe for disaster. So we gotta play that press or that zone defense and not prevent, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, they're better with like Jalen Carter might be the best defensive player I've ever seen on the Eagles, like at any era. Like I think he might be better than Fletcher Cox or Brandon Graham, maybe even Dalton. Like he's so good, he's so quick. This defense is great, and I'm not trying to. I'm going to stay humble, but Jack, when the Rams got the ball on that last drive, what did I say?
Jalen Carter's gonna make a play.
I didn't say that, but
I don't know what.
I said defense wins championships.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah,
we were all freaking out. I was like, you know what? Defense, you have to play good defense to win championships. Defense wins championships. This defense is so good, and honestly, I feel like people are giving hate. Isaiah Rodgers has stepped in multiple times this season for Darius Slay. Last week he had to do it for Mitchell, but I don't like. If you look, like yes, he gives them some plays that maybe Mitchell or Slay won't give up, but he's not a liability out there. Like he's not like Nolan Carroll.
Not a Bradbury.
Yeah, Bradbury or honestly even Avonte Maddox. Like he's a solid number 2 off the bench. So this defense rocks. This defense is just amazing. CJ GJ hitting people in like 3rd and 2.
Yeah.
Like that was even before the snow. He just came up and rocked them. Like he just shot that gap. The defense is so good.
That was crazy. Yeah, Jalen Carter kind of reminds me a little bit of, I mean, he's got some flashes of like guys like Jerome Brown. I mean, he's just energetic and he's honestly, as Zep just said, I mean, he's fast for a defensive lineman. And he has these intangibles that are just, it's crazy for him being in his 2nd year and he's just already this dominant. I mean, he honestly can be on the list of great dominant Eagles defensive players. I think he has a chance to do that. And I think he honestly has a chance to have a better legacy than guys like Fletcher Cox or even guys like Brandon Graham as well. I mean, guys who've kind of put a stamp here in Philadelphia as Eagles for sure, who've been here their whole careers. Hopefully, I mean, knock on wood, Jalen Carter stays here his whole career. We get to re-sign him and sign him for a big deal for sure, because I think we got to re-sign him for sure. He's a guy who you cannot lose, because if you do lose him, I mean, the defense is going to go downhill. I think he's a great defensive player for sure, and he is just a unit.
Yeah, that would be the biggest mistake if we don't re-sign Zach Bond.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
That would be a mistake. I mean, with the season, like a couple episodes, like I pointed out the numbers, I won't do it again, but you're 100% right on that. But everybody, it's time to get out of the mashed potatoes, get out of the vegetables, and get into the meat of the show. Oh, yeah. We got a feast this week, and we're having freaking pig. We're roasting pigs outside of Lincoln Financial Field. Commanders, we're coming for that ass this week. I wanted to say this. The Eagles actually have the advantage this week. Here's why. They are the ones with the chip on their shoulder. If we would have beat down the Commanders if the Commanders would have beat us down week 1 or week whatever, the first time we played them, and then we would have beat them the second time, I would actually be nervous for this game because it's really hard to beat a team back to back. And with how hot the Commanders are, that would just be fate with our luck. And especially the way that Philly sports have gone like the past, I'll say 3 years. Yeah, I'm not going to press my luck anymore. But as far as this goes, I actually think that the cards are in the Eagles' favor. I have a good feeling in my gut. I have a good feeling in my stomach. I've been waking up every morning with a good feeling in my heart, knowing that my Philadelphia Eagles, your Philadelphia Eagles, our Philadelphia Eagles are going to be advancing to the Super Bowl this Sunday. And I don't know if you guys remember what the vibes were like last time the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Nobody did shit at work for like weeks when they were in it. So, no, I'm not saying that, but I am saying in all seriousness, everybody around, like in different countries, right? They talk about, oh, in Italy, we have these breaks or whatever where we go get coffee midday. Or like in other countries, their lunch breaks are like 3 hours or something, right? That was kind of how life was like when the Eagles won the Super Bowl and when the Eagles were in the Super Bowl. It just felt like everybody had a little bit more kindness to them and a little bit more patience. So the world as we know
is
it,
a great NFC Championship
place
matchup.
if the Eagles go to the Super Bowl. Sorry, what were you saying, Josh?
Dalton just had an NFC Championship game preview, and all he did was talk about winning the Super Bowl.
Josh, I'm here for the vibes, man.
He's always doing that. He's always jumping the gun. He was the guy who literally asked me, like recently, he's like, so we got a plan where we're going to be for the parade. And I'm like, whoa, slow the brakes. Come on. What's up? You did.
I'm saying you told me to slow down, and you're right.
Yeah, no, I'm dead serious. The job's not finished. The job's not done. As late and great Kobe Bryant said. Never thought I'd be saying that, unfortunately. But job's not finished. Job's not finished. So we got to get it done. We got to beat these Commanders. And then we got to deal with Kansas City or the Bills. If it's Kansas City, then we got to deal with the refs as well. So we got to deal with Kansas City plus the refs. I mean, that's just how it is when you play.
We won't be able to touch Mahomes.
Yeah.
There will be pressure without touching. At least a couple inches there to never touch the guy. I'm nervous. I always get nervous when we play the Commanders, regardless of when it is, let alone you put them in a playoff atmosphere that they have not been in. They play us hard every stinking time. And to be honest, there were things that in last week's game that I think should have gone differently. We almost truly blew that game. And if we do not play, I say this all the time, 4 quarters of football, I don't think we're going to be able to win it. And I want to be able to win it. I want to be able to be like, heck yes, we're going to the Super Bowl. But I am very nervous, depending on how, we'll talk about it later in the show, but depending on how Jalen's feeling. Quinyon Mitchell is saying that he's going to be good to go, but we don't really know what that means. It could be ugly. And again, Jayden Daniels is this star rookie quarterback. So I personally am feeling a little anxious.
You know, I would feel so shitty and so salty if I were the Cowboys or Giants, because you for the NFC Championship, it's the NFC East. So
NFC Beast.
You gotta be so in your bag that you see these two teams in your division playing for the NFC Championship. With that being said, I mean, this is probably the perfect scenario for us that we're finishing the playoffs in Philadelphia. I mean, I didn't want the Commanders to advance at all, but it was nice that they won so we can play in Philadelphia, because as we all say, playoffs run through Philly. So, I mean, this is not going to be an easy game without a doubt in my mind. Jayden Daniels is playing really good football. Brian Johnson came out of nowhere last game and just ran all over everyone. De'Ami Brown is playing phenomenal football. I don't know where he came out of.
Wait, you mean Brian Robinson, right?
Yeah, what did I say?
Brian Johnson.
Oh, yeah, whatever. Yeah, my fault. But yeah, no, this is definitely what week 2 for us to have a successful game against this team is we have to make sure we have all eyes on the quarterback, run a QB spy, because, I mean, we played him the first time and he wasn't 100%. The second time he was probably 75% healthy. Now he's 100% healthy. So you got to keep your eyes on him and run that QB spy, because he's been running all over these teams in these playoffs. So that's kind of our key to stop the run, stop Brian Robinson, stop Eckler. We gotta
Eckler's good.
Eckler is all right. He played pretty well last game.
Eckler's good on screen passes.
Yeah.
Eckler's pretty. Eckler's a good, like, Eckler's there, Kenny Gainwell, but he's used more.
Yeah.
He's good.
So
they're a good team.
I think the Eagles will win, by at least a touchdown. That's all I gotta say.
I am worried. I'm not worried. Like I always say, I'm worried. I'm just stressed. They're a good team. They play really well. Jayden Daniels, he's not as fast as Lamar. He's not as powerful as a runner as Hurts, but he's very he's shifty. He's shiesty. Like he's really good at getting away. So like Jack said, yeah, play them well. This is what I will say. And this, I might be grasping at straws here, but this is what I will say. The 2017 Eagles had their quarterback get hurt late in the season, just like the 2024 Eagles did now. Jalen Hurts came back, but still. In the divisional round of 2017, the Eagles had to make a defensive stand or else they were going to lose the game against the Falcons. We just had to do that last week in the divisional round against the Rams, okay? Just some mirror images there. What happened against the Vikings in the championship game? In Philly, we jacked them up. It was never a game. So on paper, I think this is a close game. I don't like where the spread is. I don't know where. I think it's like 6.5 right now. 6.
Yeah.
That seems way too high to me. I really like being underdogs because it just makes me feel better. But I would not be surprised if we blow them out. But you got to take them seriously. They are not the 6 seed Commanders. They are the NFC Championship playing in that game Commanders.
That's a great point, Josh. And the one thing I wanted to say too, I got you after this, Tom, because I actually want to get Tom's perspective on this. We were all there for that Vikings game, sitting with each other. You, me, and Zep. Me very sick, but still there because there are just some things in life that don't matter if you're fucking dead. Fucking show up, son. And I'm glad that I did because it's seriously thank you to my parents for making me go. They raised me right. I actually didn't want to go in the moment, and I'm so glad. I think
I like shook you by the shoulders and looked you in the eyes. I was like, you're going to the game.
Yeah, like I remember you came over that night before, and the next morning you're like, go, we're going. And I heard you, and we went. And thank God we went because if I wasn't there, I don't know that we would have won the Super Bowl. No, I'm just fucking kidding. I'm not that superstitious. But in all seriousness, that game was the loudest I've ever seen Lincoln Financial Field ever. And if you're at the game this weekend, Philadelphia Eagles fans, listen up. If you're there this weekend, you need to bring the same vibes of that Vikings game, if not louder. We need you more than ever. This isn't like that NFC Championship a few years ago when we were going up against San Francisco. This game has a lot more to it, and because we just lost the Super Bowl a couple years ago. It wasn't like when we were just kind of happy to be there in 2018. No, this is the revenge tour. You don't know when you're going to be back in this window. So Philadelphia Eagles fans, you have just as much of an implication on the game this weekend as the team. Yes, I just said that. But you need to get fucking loud. You need to make this game difficult as hell for this young QB who threw for 5 passing touchdowns and ran for 81 rushing yards the last time he played you. Because like Jack said, he wasn't 75% last time. He's going to be 100, or he was 75% last time. He's going to be 100% this time. And he is no one to mess with. He is a bad man. So defense and fans and Saquon Barkley, those are my 3 variables for the Eagles to win this week, guys.
I will say this, Dol. There is one thing that actually my dad showed me today, this video, and I didn't really know too much about this, but Jayden Daniels has an upper edge on these other quarterbacks actually in the league right now. And it's this whole VR system thing. I mean, the VR system, LSU worked with him on this, and it's really kind of dissecting what's going on in the game, obviously, kind of going through those kind of scenarios and everything like that, and different kind of scenarios. I mean, that's what this VR system does. And he's been doing it, and I think he's still doing it with Washington as well. And it's kind of advanced them a lot because if you actually asked somebody years ago if this guy would be in the NFC Championship game, I mean, ask those guys who were at Arizona State with him, and they'll laugh in your face. Those teammates that were saying, "Oh my God, this guy sucked." They were like taking all this stuff out of his locker and saying, "Oh my God, this quarterback's going to suck at LSU." And a bunch of those guys don't even play football anymore. I mean, they're the guys who are actually the losers. But Jayden Daniels has honestly shocked the world, and it honestly has to do with this whole new system and everything like that. And it kind of gives him an upper edge. But I do feel like this weekend, though, with the noise, as Dalt just said before, it's different in Philadelphia. It's way different. You have a way different atmosphere for sure than other stadiums. And, I mean, as Dalt was describing as well, I mean, guys like Case Keenum, I mean, he couldn't get the Philly fans out of his head. I mean, it just totally took out the confidence in him. It took out the confidence in the Vikings. And hopefully this weekend, it will take out the confidence in the Commanders that they had last week against the Lions. And hopefully they do not repeat what they did last week to us. I don't think they will. I think our defense is way tougher than the Lions defense. I think our team is way tougher. And I honestly do think the Eagles will get the victory in this NFC Championship game, and they will advance to play either the Bills or the Kansas City Refs. So we'll see what happens. I think the Eagles win it. I'm going to say I always go with 30s, but I'm probably going to go with 27-17. We win by 10 points. I'll take
I didn't
that.
know you could count that high, KJ.
Yeah, I count to 100.
Prove it. On mute. Go.
Not going to do it right now. We got a show to talk about. We got some football to talk about, man.
I got nothing else to say about this. It's going to be
Tommy
a pissing match.
Dutch. Now that we're done glazing Jayden Daniels, like KJ, are you even an Eagles fan? I have to question it after that.
I'm just saying, okay, did I say the Eagles were going to win? Yes, they're going to win. But I just told you what the facts are with Jayden Daniels, though, that he is an upper edge with these other quarterbacks. He has a different kind of situation than other quarterbacks. He has some different kind of routine than other quarterbacks nowadays. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
All right. KJ, you're supposed to be counting to 100.
Now that we
I'm not counting 100
established the Eagles as underdogs, just like the national media and KJ want, and the underdog Eagles in this game. Hey, there you go, Josh. There's your underdog story.
I need the underdog. I need it.
Nobody trusts Jalen at all. Everybody expects Jayden Daniels to be the second coming of Christ. How many times can I say that this show?
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying.
I'm not saying you are, but the rest of the media.
For a rookie. And he's kind of done the impossible. He has made the Commanders franchise relevant.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Tom.
He has, but I'm done glazing him. He's going to get crushed. The dude sucks. Both games when CJGJ was in there, he couldn't complete a pass. CJGJ gets ejected and he threw five touchdowns all of a sudden. Like, I'm sorry he could beat up on a varsity level safety in McCollum. Great. CJGJ is an elite safety. I think we can agree on that. Like,
and one thing to say off of that too, Tom. Shout out to Dennis. We brought it up today. Well, we're giving love to the safeties. Blankenship, Dennis's boy, had picks in both games against the Commanders.
Yes, he did. That's why I don't feel confident in Jayden Daniels. He can do whatever VR voodoo bullshit he wants. And he's not good. He sees ghosts when CJGJ's out there.
Voodoo.
They had to reject him in Washington. I don't know. I think he becomes one-dimensional. If he has to just keep running the ball because he can't pass it, the Eagles are going to be able to stop him. And if they have to hand it off to Brian John or whatever his name is.
I hate this Commanders.
Brian Robinson.
I hate Brian Johnson now.
What?
Isn't DJ there technically too? Isn't he like their quarterback's coach though?
Yeah, he is, but he's not playing though.
So we got to win this game to beat the fuck out of Brian Johnson. Could you guys imagine if Brian Johnson beats us in this game and goes to play in the Super Bowl? That's the vendetta right there. That's all you need to hear.
No, it's not even that. It's just the fact of seeing the Commanders in the Super Bowl. They fucking suck. They have sucked for so many fucking years, and seeing them make it to the Super Bowl is a slight to the Eagles, and the Eagles should never be a team if they let this Commanders team walk all over them and fucking shit on them at home. That can't happen. That can't.
And it took them 2 years to finally pick a team name.
Exactly. And it took them like 30 years to make to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Anyway, I just hate this team. I hate Frankie Louvu. I hate Cliff Kingsbury. I just don't like him. It's wrong that Zach Ertz is on the team. It's just everything seems off. I just don't like that team.
Yeah.
Brian Robinson did get shot in the ass and then played football like 3 weeks later. That is kind of cool.
It was the quad, actually.
He got shot in the ass. He literally got shot in the ass.
Yeah, no. Like Haven said, Frankie Louvu.
No, Frankie Louvu is a bad person.
He's a bad motherfucker.
Like
He is a dirty motherfucker, and we need to put an end to his reign because if you've seen him play, that was a dirty hit against Jalen Hurts. That was a dirty hit against Jared Goff. He was a defenseless defender or whatever on that pickoff. So, yeah, fuck that guy. He pisses me off, and we cannot let somebody named Frankie Louvu make it to the Super Bowl.
Honestly.
Saquon's going to do the same thing he did last week and just go for a crazy run and just stare at what he did to Jared Verse. He's going to stare down Louvu. That's what he's going to do. Or he might step over him like Allen Iverson did on Tyronn Lue. He's just going to go off on him. So, yeah, Louvu is going to get his medicine, and he's going to get a taste of his own medicine. That's what's going to happen for him.
Cool.
It's going to be a good game. Stay tuned. Some honorary captains. So we brought this up. Who would you guys potentially like? I know Nick Foles is being kicked around. Jason
I would pick
Kelce,
you, Dalton. I'd pick
Chris
you.
Paul. I'd like to see. God, I just got to fucking do everything around here, man. Don't I?
Ballpark should be the honorary captain.
Lay up the question. All right, I'll go for Josh. I want to see the man with the third leg back in the house. I want to see Big Dick Nick here. If Nick Foles comes into the building gets fired up no matter what. And that would just bring really good vibes back to Super Bowl 52. I know that Jason Kelce and Chris Long both played for the team in 52, but Nick Foles is obviously the face of that team. So I would like to see Nick Foles personally.
I mean, could they bring him back? I know that wasn't he your honorary captain already this year?
He was for the Falcons game, I believe, right?
He was.
We fucking lost.
Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like that might be bad luck. So I'm going to say, I hate to say this, but Nick Foles, just for the luck
banning him from the stadium now, guys.
No, he's not banned from the stadium. No, hell no. I just mean for honorary captains. Honorary captains. He can't be exactly, especially in this kind of game
now for you guys.
No, in this kind of game, I don't think he could be honorary captain because of what Zeb just said. I mean, we lost to the Falcons of all teams. They're not even in the playoffs anymore.
But it was a one catch. That was the
I
one
know
thing.
it was. I know, but still, we still lost. But I would probably say, out of all the people to be honorary captain, I would probably say Jason Kelce. And I know that people are like, "Oh, well, Jason Kelce's everywhere. He's on Chef Boyardee commercials. He has his own Jimmy Fallon show, late night show. He has a Marriott commercial." You know what, though? That's all right. Let him keep on being the Shaquille O'Neal of the NFL and let him advertise. But here's the thing. Yeah, he should probably be the honorary captain. He had the greatest speech known to mankind after we won the Super Bowl. So I think you got to go with him. If it's bad luck, then God help us all. I mean, that would even suck even more. That would be horrible.
I would say Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz has a game.
Take him
Carson
from
Wentz is with the Chiefs, though. Can't.
have him come to Philadelphia.
He's with the Chiefs.
I think this is underrated pick here, Brent Selleck, because he was the mentor of Zach Ertz, kind of get Zach Ertz brain a little bit, be like, oh my God, it's Brent Selleck again. And plus, Brent Selleck was on that Super Bowl team and is my favorite Eagles player.
And you own his jersey.
I love Brent Selleck, so underrated. I think Chris Long would be really good. Chris Long would be really good.
It's hard to top that one because Josh, actually, I wasn't even thinking about that. That's better than mine that I'm about to say. He was a stud for too many years, and it's been the year of the running back, Brian Westbrook.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I would love to see Brian Westbrook come back.
Akers.
Dear God, no. Can he kick?
Can David Akers do some tutoring for Jake Elliott?
He'll suit up for Jake Elliott.
Yeah, he can help out Jake Elliott a little bit, right? Right, Havens? He can help out Jake Elliott.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Can teach him how to kick an extra point. It'd be good.
Yeah.
So that way, at the end of the game, you don't gotta have a heart attack.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Eagles are 4-0 playoff games when Jake Elliott.
Honorary captain. Honestly, I'd like to see somebody like somebody like Brent Selleck. I think he played his whole career in Philadelphia. Honestly, growing up as a kid, that was my favorite player, so I feel like kind of biased. But somebody like Brent Selleck, who's been there like in Philly his whole career, he won the Super Bowls last year. I think that would be pretty cool. Have him as an honorary captain come out, and I think it would get everybody all hyped up and ready for the game.
Yes, we love Brent Selleck on this podcast. This is the Brent Selleck podcast. I just said the exact same thing like 30 seconds before you got here.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No.
No, he actually did. It was crazy.
That backs my point. Brent Selleck is so underrated. Him and Jason Avant never got the love they deserve.
No.
Well, they did let Jason Avant get some love this week. I saw them having him in a golf cart, taking him around, which was pretty cool that they showed him some love. But this one was funny. All right. So everybody knows Mayor Sherrell Parker doing a pretty good job, I'd say, overall. Some people disagree. Some people agree. Let's not make the show a political show. Point being, you can't spell the Eagles chant and you're the mayor of Philadelphia. What are you doing? Come on. ELGSES, I think it was. Come on. That's not good. That's not a good look for the city. So you got to get that shit together. All love, but you got to be able to spell the Eagles because you could see how excited she was too to do it leading up to it. She's like, and one more thing, everybody, you know, we all got to be ready for the Eagles game this weekend and go Birds. ELGSES Eagles. And it's like, you would think if you said EL, she would be like, oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what that was. Let me restart before I have a viral video or whatever. Nope. Sometimes confidence is key, motherfuckers. And you just got to keep rolling with it. And she just didn't even act like it fazed her, which I feel like made it worse in a way. She should have addressed it, I feel.
And some people actually followed her too. Like some people were actually doing that same thing. They were like ELGLES Eagles. But weirdly though. So it was like some people were actually getting set up for failure, like she was. So but yeah, no, it was unfortunate. It kind of reminded me of that one lady from I think it was Chicken Pete's, where she said the same thing. I think she spelled it almost the same exact, maybe a couple letters off. Don't know whose kid is screaming in the background, but somebody's kid's screaming.
Jesus, KJ.
What the heck?
Probably
Somebody's screaming.
It might be
that's my daughter, my fault.
He's got a baby.
Who else would have a baby on the show,
the proper way.
KJ?
She's spelling it EAGLES Eagles.
All right,
okay?
cool.
She's doing it the proper way. She was just trying to give everybody a lesson back there.
I thought it was ballparks, kids. I thought it was ballparks.
Listen up, bro.
Mom doesn't have a kid.
The baby can even spell the chant right. But hey, I want to say,
that's awesome.
If the baby can get the chant right, and the dyslexic kid all these years can get the chant right, you should be able to get the chant right. Like, I'm in sales for my day job, right? So people will be spelling their emails for me on the phone, and I'll just be like, gotta freeze like that. Like, because letters and numbers for me, they don't work. Symbols, I'm not good at. I need colored pictures in picture books. I didn't read chapter books as a kid. Ballpark, I read picture books, son. You know what I'm talking about. And you know the ones where you can color in the pictures on your own? That's a lot of fun. Look, KJ, you made the poor guy turn off his camera now. Oh, gee.
Hey, I was not okay. I'm sorry. I thought it was ballparks kids. All right. I'm sorry.
I'm only busting balls.
First,
KJ, you have to count to 200 now.
First, he glazes Jayden Daniels and proves he's not a true Eagles fan. Then he makes fun of somebody's kid. That's strike two, KJ. I was not making fun of
Haven's kid. Havens, I will tell you this. I was not making fun of your kid. God bless your kid. Yeah, seriously. Like, I mean, kids, honestly, they're allowed to cry. It's okay.
You should volunteer to babysit, KJ.
Confused. I think he thought that Ballpark maybe had been up to
Ballpark had some, like, I don't know. I thought he had some kids that he was babysitting or something that he was, I don't know.
Jesus Christ.
Well, hey, like, I heard the baby make the chant right personally over here. Yeah. So I guess you're raising her right, Joey. Keep up the good.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
How are you feeling about this, like, disgrace, though, of a spelling lesson?
So the word eagle in and of itself is just so simple to spell. I don't know how you're a mayor and you don't know how to spell the word eagle. Like, if I didn't know how to spell, like, regular words in my day job, there would be an issue. They'd be like, sir, you can't work here anymore. Like, you don't know how to spell. But we got people that, I don't know. And
I am not rooting for the Commanders. God forbid I root for the Commanders. I just was statting what I heard about Jayden Daniels. That's it. And it wasn't even me that actually had the video. It was my father, who's a diehard Eagles fan. Just because we have a stat about a quarterback or a certain kind of backstory doesn't mean we freaking love the guy and have like a.
Hey, Jayden, I'll be on the same train as you, JJ, because throwing 5 passing touchdowns the last time he played
That's what I'm saying. It is pretty crazy. I mean,
I just love Tom's face because he knows that he's getting a rise out of you. Look at him. He's sitting in satisfaction over there. I'm cracking up at him because he's loving it. But hey, if you can't spell the Eagles chant, don't fucking show up to the link on Sunday. Like I said, this game, guys, is going to be the most important game of the year. If you're at Lincoln Financial Field, get loud. I want you to get louder than the NFC Championship against the Minnesota Vikings. That was the loudest I've ever seen that field. That was one of the most beautiful sights I've ever seen in my life. So many, white towels, rally towels, all going in unison. Everybody going 8-fuck together. Bring it home, Philly. Take us to the promised land and take that same energy going into the Super Bowl. I know you guys can do it. I can feel it. NFC Championship week. KJ's got the rally towel. Jackson's going to have the hype speech. Jackson, go ahead. Take us out of here, brother.
So this time I wrote something. I'll try to be quick. Ready?
You don't got to be quick. Lay it on.
Fans have joined the chat now.
All right, Eagles Nation, listen up. This weekend's on the line. We're not just stepping onto the field. We're stepping into battle. It's the Birds versus the Commanders, and we know what we're about. This is Philly football, baby. Great grind and greatness. Washington thinks they can stand in our way. Nah, not in our house, not on our turf. We've got brotherly love of City Bleeds Green. We got Jalen leading the charge, our O-line dominating the trenches, and that defense hungry. They are hungry for some blood. You know what time it is? Time to fucking hunt, boys. Eagles by a million.
Fucking go! Yeah, bro, you got me hyped up, man. I'm ready for this. This game, like Jack just said, let's hunt. Guys, I'll see you next week when we hopefully, knock on wood, premiere the Super Bowl. Jackson, take us out of here.
Well, like I said, Eagles by a billion, baby. Without further ado. Hey, Josh!
Zip!
It's an outro, not an intro. Hit that motherfucking outro.
What we got? 302BIRDS, Stinks.